Hey everybody, we're gonna do a recorded lecture because I don't trust Zoom. It just worked pretty well, but I feel like the first week we're gonna let it work out kinks. So we're gonna do a quick little lecture on YouTube because that's easy. And guess what the topic is? How very timely. Social media management in times of crisis. Fantastic. Um, Also, a quick guide to not being a horrible global citizen in troubling times. Step one, pause all of your planned posts. Nothing is worse or more un, untimely, insensitive, horribly than getting some really crass post about some cheap promotional offer um, when there's a literally a global pandemic happening. None of us have ever lived through anything like this before, so no one knows what's going on. But we can all agree if you get some promotion like something go viral, or if there was a sale for like masks or sanitizer, that would be it'd be kind of weird. So no matter what you're managing a brand, no matter what channels you're on, freeze it. Shout out Ali for making that great chart. Yeah, freeze it, chill, pause your posts, stop and listen, read the room, um, get a sense of what's going on, take a breath. Do we know who this dude is? He's from Tennessee. He had what may have been a good idea like months ago to start hoarding hand sanitizer. But then it turns out when the crisis is way worse than most people thought it was going to be, now he looks like a huge a-hole. And I think Amazon actually shut him down, yeah, for price gouging. So he seemed like a jerk. We don't want to be like that. People fear the unknown. This situation is all unknown, but every crisis has some element of unknown. Don't exploit that fear. Take this as a chance for brand communication to take a look at the bigger picture, ask questions about your brand. What are we doing with our messaging? Who are our customers? Kind of like a lot of individuals are doing at this time. What matters to me? What's important? Who matters in society? What am I about? We've all had to do a lot of soul searching in these quarantine end of days. Some brands who have had to pause their campaigns recently. KFC had, of course, their thing is like it's finger licking good, and guess what? Touching and licking and like all that stuff just is really gross now, and is not sanitary. The big public health pushes have been flatten the curve, social distancing. Um, so when you start to get, this is why social listening is important. When you get crap, you need to be paying attention to like, oh yeah, maybe this is not the time for this. Also, Philips had they had some campaigns about how icky and germy and gross pacifiers are, like babies' pacifiers. And you've probably seen one where it's like first time parent and it falls on the ground and they're like, oh no, and they hand sanitize and wipe it and then when it's your second kid, you're like, yeah, stick it in their mouth because you just don't care. But they didn't want, they felt that, and they're probably right, that an ad that highlights how germy and gross pacifiers are might contribute to public anxiety now. Um, didn't want to do that. Good on them. Geico had one about the perfect high five. Bad for obvious reasons. This is all about we're on to the elbow bump. Or not. I mean, now it's, yeah, 6 feet away. You can't do that when it's a national lockdown. So hit pause on that for a while. Maybe that'll feel good to do with your neighbors and friends when we come out of quarantine and coronavirus has been contained. Yay. Decide if your company can help. So obviously, brands can help in different degrees for different crises. My wife works for a medical education company, and one of the struggles she's having now, so they do medical education for physician assistants. They have all this knowledge and information and podcasts and this whole like infrastructure set up to get information out quickly, but she feels like it's a that, which is good, but she's like, it feels icky if we do this, like, hey, here's some COVID-19 info and then now subscribe to our very expensive podcast. So there's a balance, but even if you're not directly involved, there's things you can do. For example, McDonald's iconic golden arches, but to reinforce the idea of social distancing, hey, we're were alone together. They took the arches, moved them up. Visually, that's very creative, very simple, but effective. Unsplash, which gives away free images to reinforce the idea of social distancing, moved their images apart on their page. Really creative, really simple. I don't know whose idea that was, but I love it. Adobe, as we all know, because we had access, and now one of the big issues faculty and administration had, especially for creative industries like ad PR, what do we do? Because a lot of students may rely on computer labs or access on campus. How do we ensure they can still do the work they do at home? Thankfully, Adobe's like, cool, we got you guys. We're going to give free for the next 2 months. So good on them. And Disney coming through, releasing Frozen 2 a little early because we're all stuck in our homes for the foreseeable future. So coronavirus is actually really good because it's such a crazy thing and no one knows what's going on. Brands have stepped up in a really cool way. And like musicians or I think like John Legend and Chris Martin and Coldplay were the first ones to be like, you know what? I don't know what I can do, but I know I have songs people like. All right. And they just did little home concerts, Corona, what do they call it? Quarantunes. Yeah. So can your brand help? But not every brand has to do something. So if you don't force it, if it's weird, but transparency, honesty, open channels of communication, always timeless. Communicate clearly, no matter what you do. Consider issuing a statement about how your brand is going to act during this time. And even if you're just going to proceed as normal, because it's such a crazy, like, this is philosophically, like in terms of life experience, this is a shift in narrative. A lot of people are like, I know where I were when 9/11 happened. All of us are going to be like, I know where I was when I first had to go into my house for coronavirus. It's a big effing deal. So if you're going to continue as normal, you need to make that clear. Say, hey, we think that there's enough information out there about how to wash your hands or whatever. That's not our brand. What we can do, we're just going to keep bringing you joy, opportunity, information, whatever your brand does, products, whatever. But just say we're being deliberate about trying to return to some sense of normalcy, to let people know you deliberately chose that path. Here comes the baby. Overall, listen to customers, read the room. You don't want to appear tone deaf. It looks really bad for the brand. In times of crisis, do you think it's better to over or under communicate? I'm going to pause for 3 seconds for dramatic effect while you think about it. Well, I would say when you're in a crisis, over is almost always better. In times of uncertainty, people want to know that other people are being deliberate, trying to figure it out. Hey, we're working on this. We're in this together. Even if you're just even if you're just a food place, a lot of the places around here have done posts like this. Hey, we're open for curbside pickup or delivery. I know the restaurant industry, people are worried about it, and you may have friends, or maybe you work as a server or bartender or something. People are concerned about the economy. So just communicating, hey, we're open or we're not, or we will be on this date is really important. Company like Patagonia, pretty much known for awesome CSR and good brand ethics. They put out something just saying, hey, we don't know what's going on, but we're taking care of our employees. Cool, clear, transparent messaging. Speaking of which, don't neglect internal messaging. So most social media we think of as going out to the public and consumers, but also it's important to remember, if you're with a brand company agency, how are they going to take care of its own people internal? Always support your own employees and staff and keep them informed. It's really, it bodes well or poorly for companies if you like, hey man, you work for whatever, like Nike, or you work for University of Tennessee, what are they doing? And if people would be like, I don't know, man, it's a total show. It's chaos. No one knows what's going on. So here at UT, we have gotten plenty of information. There is no doubt, I have zero doubt that the people at all levels of administration are thinking about, wrestling with, debating, weighing, if we can meet, if we can do graduation, can we? What if it's online? What if we delay it by a couple months? I am very confident in the leadership at the school that they're doing everything they can. A lot of businesses are like that, where they take it seriously and they let their staff and employees know that they're taken care of. Your own employees represent your brand. Reputation matters, and people remember, right? The internet never forgets. So I saw a really great tweet. Someone said, hey, the next job you interview for, ask the company what they did. Tell them, ask the company what they did for their employees during coronavirus. It's a good chance to see a company's principles, what they really stand for. Okay, that was a nice little primer, wasn't it? Your homework this week, read that super short article, which is for the PR folks, and you are going to submit an analysis of how a brand has responded either well or poorly to COVID-19. More instructions are on Canvas. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying sane, washing your hands. And what do you think, Kate? She's bored. She didn't even care. All right. I think next week we'll meet on Zoom because that went well. And I've had fun Zooming. So we'll probably do that. Have a good week. Email me with any questions, and I'll see you guys shortly.